didn't mess up the view just then, did I?
No. Hey, Wade.
We are Radio Lex, the voice of the people. WLXU 93.9 LPFM, Lexington, Kentucky.
Ready?
Ready, Freddy.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of Lexington Community Radio or its board of directors. The views expressed are solely those of the programmers.
You are listening to Off the Cuff. Now, here's your host, Adam Banks.
Welcome, everybody, to Off the Cuff. I am Adam Banks, coming at you live from Lexington, Kentucky. Thank you for listening to the show, and thank you for tuning in to WLXU 93.9 FM. In addition to listening to us on the radio, you can check out our Facebook live stream at Off the Cuff with Adam Banks, or you can download the Radio Lex app on your smartphone device to listen to us anywhere in the entire world. Amber Turner and I are both broadcasting from the Deborah Hensley Studios here at Radio Lex on North Limestone. Amber, I don't know if you have noticed, but there are a lot of cheese wagons on the road, a lot of school buses driving by.
I've seen the school buses, and I do not envy those children today because it is hotter than Hades outside.
Hotter than a firecracker, but since it is the first day of school, I have to play this, since it is the very first day of school. Here we go. Now, did you sing that while you waited for the bus every morning?
No, I usually was cussing and hooping and hollering.
I've been seeing the first day of school pics. Usually I get real aggravated and I really get annoyed when I see just a flux of pictures of people posting of their kids. I usually just stop posting that. But on the first day of school, I really don't get annoyed because who wouldn't post a picture of their kid on the first day of school? I think that's the one time a year you get a pass from me of posting a lot of pictures. Well, not a lot, but just one picture of your kid on the first day of school.
You know who you don't get a pass from, though?
You.
Your kid that's aggravated all to death because they're like, I just want to go and hate my life.
I think about that sometimes. I think about the kid that's taking these really corny pictures that the parent makes them take, dressed up in little khaki pants, and their sister's got on matching khaki pants, and they're holding the little signs, first day of 5th grade, first day of 6th grade.
And they're standing real close together.
I don't know about you, Amber, but where I came from, if you was to have showed up at Beaver Creek Elementary in the 6th grade with a picture that said first day of 6th grade and you were holding it, that was it. Your reputation was destroyed.
You'd have got whooped before the first bell even rung.
Yeah, I started back school this week too. I'm a college professor. Started my new role as an assistant professor of speech communication. Thank you very much. I don't know if I told anybody that. I started 4 years ago at an institution, community college, as an instructor. I have been promoted to an assistant professor of speech communication. So I started that role on Monday, and it was pretty fun to see my coworkers that I haven't seen in such a long time because of COVID. It was really fun to see them. I had the first day of school jitters, just like I was back in high school.
I was going to say, was it just as bad as back then?
It was, because I had been out for so long. I found myself going and finding me a new outfit. I found me some new school supplies. I really was back in high school earlier this week.
Oh, that sounds nasty.
But Amber, because it is back to school and back in school is in full swing, you read all kinds of things on the internet concerning back to school. And I want to start the show talking about an article that I read. And this article was very relatable to me, and I know it's going to be relatable to a lot of people because it talks about things. Well, here was the name of the article. It was things basically everyone thought were completely normal in high school that definitely was not normal.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm going to talk about things that we used to do in high school that in the eyes of the high school world, or in that bubble of high school, it was completely normal to do this.
Yeah.
But it's completely abnormal outside of the realm of high school. Okay? Outside of the realm of high school. So in high school, nothing was more normal than running a mile and then immediately going to math class.
I can 100% agree with that.
I mean,
my first class was PE and my second class was algebra.
How do they think that is normal to make a kid run a mile, sweat, get all kinds of pit stains on their shirt before they go into English class?
We didn't have showers, remember?
There was no showers.
No.
That could have been worse, though.
Well, now that I've said it out loud, I thought about it. that could have been a lot worse.
It could have been worse. Another thing, in high school, nothing was more normal than the competition to say how sleep deprived you were. Do you remember that? Do you remember in high school you would always brag about how late you stayed up the night before?
No, but I used to make fun of the people that did because I was over there well rested and well rounded, and I'd make fun of those
Well,
people.
it was cool to stay up late. It was like, yeah, I stayed up till 3:30 in the morning, and I'm like, okay, good for you, dude. You're sleep deprived and you're 16 years old.
I never had parental supervision, so I stayed up whenever I wanted.
In high school, nothing was more normal than munching on cough drops like your life depended on it. Remember that? You would be so bored sometimes. If you didn't have no gum, you would do anything to cure boredom. I found myself eating a few cough drops just to pass the time.
Like Ludens,
I don't know the brand names of them.
the
but
cherry, the ones that I still eat to this day.
I eat cough drops because it reminds me of high school. It reminds me of school. Because, you know, you got to think, I don't know if it's still like this in high school now, but when we were in high school, it was rare to get a snack or a pop. You craved something in the morning, something of
any type of substance.
any type of substance, even a cough drop. Okay? In high school, it was completely normal to ask permission for a bodily function.
This is the one I struggle with. I hate that you have to ask to go to the restroom.
Why is that a thing? I get it. Students abuse it all the time. They'll say, can I go to the bathroom? When they really don't. But you don't know if they're telling the truth or not. So you have to give them the benefit of the doubt. Nobody made you the pee police. So quit trying to regulate who can go to the bathroom or not.
Yeah.
In high school, it was completely normal that students started at 7:30 their day.
Mm-hmm.
The time was completely normal. Why in the world did we think it was normal to start any type of school like that before 8 o'clock?
I'm still trying to figure out why we thought it was a good idea to bus us all to the grade school, then bus us all to the high school, you know, in 2 big trips when I had to get up at 5:30 just to catch the bus.
Some high schools, some grade schools will start before 8 o'clock. That is way too early. And think about what all you have to deal with first thing in the morning as a high school student. It's like walking into a jungle. All the pressure, all that social anxiety, you're dealing with so much so early. I mean, you talk about preparing somebody just for the heartaches of life. Going to school early in the morning.
But heaven forbid you were ever late. That should be, remember when you were late getting to school
Yeah.
and things would have already happened?
Yes.
Fights were already brewing.
This one was in the article. I thought it was hilarious. It says it was completely normal for 30% of the girls in the school to have a knee brace at one point.
I hate you.
And I put that on there because the co-host of Off the Cuff, ladies and gentlemen, Amber, had a knee brace on because she broke her knee.
I dislocated my patella. Thank you.
Yes, but isn't that true? Thinking back on it,
Absolutely.
don't it seem like that a lot of girls,
Mm-hmm.
girls, not guys, girls had knee braces over their jeans?
Over their jeans?
Well,
I wore shorts when I wore mine. Like the whole time I wore my knee brace, I just wore shorts.
I would see women having knee braces over their jeans. They would try to, I don't know how they even maneuvered that.
Out there looking like wrestlers.
In high school, it was completely normal for that one kid that always wore shorts no matter what. For it would be cold as could be, but there was always one kid to wear shorts.
Absolutely.
Always. And I feel like that's just in everyday life, not
It
even in
is.
school. It says here, eating hamburgers and milk at 11:30 a.m. was completely normal in high school. Think about how disgusting that is. What they used to feed us in the morning time, milk and anything really is a gross combination.
Do you remember that time that you grabbed a thing of buttermilk? First thing in the afternoon, grabbed you a big old carton of buttermilk.
I do remember grabbing a big carton of buttermilk. And, you know, the sad thing about that is that wasn't by accident.
No, you
So,
intentionally did
I
that.
intentionally did that, and really quick, I'll tell the story. So, you know, folks, how they give you milk cartons for your lunch. They give you chocolate milk, white milk. Well, they had buttermilk, and I was just curious as to what that tasted like. So I grabbed a thing of buttermilk, and I remember the lunch lady, she said, "Now, Adam," she said, "this is buttermilk. Are you sure you want this?" I said, "Yeah, we drink it at home all the time." Because I didn't want her to tell me to put it back. I remember I took a swig of that and almost vomited. It was disgusting. Who drinks that and enjoys buttermilk?
Men over the age of 70.
Yeah, disgusting. But let's see. In high school, it was completely normal to eat spicy fried chicken with milk, eat pepperoni pizza with milk, eat milk and enchiladas. Pretty much milk and anything was just a gross combination.
Absolutely, especially that early in the morning.
Hamburgers and milk, pizza and milk.
Well, I like pizza and chocolate milk even to this day.
Let's see. In high school, it was completely after you 20 minutes after you woke up. So that goes back to us being in high school in the morning time. See that my sister liked to call me on the air. I've been doing the radio show for 2 years, and
I was over here getting frantic, wondering who was calling.
I guess she doesn't listen because she doesn't know I'm on the air at 4. On the air, Sarah, at 4. Don't call me at 4 o'clock. But yes, those are some things that will extremely make you question just society. Why do we have to put all of those things on high school students? All those abnormal things.
And there are so many things that I know that you didn't mention just then that are probably just specific to the region that we grew up in, but I just think about some things we had to endure in the mornings. And
Well, like it says here, here's another one. It says that only giving students 20 minutes for lunch is completely normal in high school.
I can't even eat in 20 minutes now as an adult. I could not back then. I could not.
Well, do you know how long it has taken me to break the habit of scarfing down my food?
I would say probably since we've been out of school.
Yes.
To try to break that.
Yeah, because I have had to do it in high school. You only had 20 minutes, and that included walking down to the lunch line, standing
Waiting in
there,
line.
and getting your food and eating it. And those, my friend. Oh, and before we go, finally, one more thing. It was completely normal to always see vomit everywhere, in the water fountain,
Wow.
in the floor,
Wow.
everywhere.
I'm feeling so attacked with this list. Guys, we went to high school together, and I want to go ahead and say Adam is 100% made this list from me. This is all the things I used to do in high school that he just really wanted to hammer me with today.
No, are you saying that you vomited all over the place in high school?
You absolutely 100% know that I did.
No, it's funny to look back on it. Not just you, but there was all kinds of kids that would get sick in
Yes,
school.
all the time.
In middle school, grade school, they would get sick and they would just vomit all over the place.
Wherever they were.
It didn't matter.
Let the blood flow
It
right
didn't
there.
matter where they would. They would just let the vomit just flow in the class. And I mean, we're in class with 30 other people, and somebody would vomit. And
Usually in the trash can.
no, they would try to go to the trash can, but they wouldn't make it, so they would just throw up on their way to the trash can, and it would just stink
And
so
then
bad.
come Dole putting the kitty cat litter on it.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. That's what it looked like. But good luck for those starting school. A lot has already started this week. A lot will be starting next week. So I hope that everyone has a good semester. All right, ladies and gentlemen, stick with us. We got lots more off the cuff coming at you live after these words. We'll be right back.
Hi,
I'm Aaron from
Hey,
ATK
Bill.
Marketplace, located in the Julietta Market at Gray Line Station on the corner of Loudon and Lime. You're listening to Radio Lex, the voice of the people. WLXU 93.9 LPFM Lexington.
Fayette Alliance is celebrating 15 years of smart growth in Lexington-Fayette County. Smart and equitable growth impacts us all. It houses our neighbors close to where we work and play, improves transportation options, and focuses investment in existing neighborhoods. Smart growth also preserves our farmland, which provides 1 in 12 jobs and shapes our cultural identity. The balance between growth and farmland is the foundation of Lexington's success. Fayette Alliance is proud to continue the challenging and necessary work to keep Lexington growing smart. To learn more, you can visit FayetteAlliance.com.
Hey Lexington, if you're at least 16, you can get the COVID-19 vaccine.
I did it for my neighbor.
I did it for my family.
I did it for Sundays. I did it for Saturdays.
I did it for race days.
I did it for my students.
I did it to see my friends.
I did it for my team.
Let's do this. Learn more at lexingtonky.gov/vaccines.
Radio Lex has the support of vinyl sponsor Gloria Hansen. Thanks, Gloria.
Well, I guess Doug's and like the brakes, the buttons over here ain't working.
Is yours working?
Huh?
Is yours working?
Radio Lex has the support of tailor-made decorative concrete and epoxy. TailorMadeDCE.com.
We'll see.
I've just seen a face I can't forget, the time or place where we...
Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. Amber is also in studio with me. Do you like the Beatles?
You know, we always talk about how our music is just a little weird, but you kind of threw me with that one. I wasn't anticipating that.
Do you know the Beatles has more #1 hits than any other artist in the entire world?
I didn't know that.
Kind of amazing. I would be starstruck if I met Paul McCartney because he's a genius.
Absolutely.
Musical genius. He wrote all of this. Zach says on the show thread, he says, you know what was awesome with high school, middle school lunches when you were a kid? He says, I don't know if you guys said this already or not, but it was always awesome to watch fights.
The fights?
Yes.
Oh, come on. We went to a high school of MMA back at North Central.
But remember sometimes how early people would get in fights?
I just remember one time we had a fight at the first bus that went down to the vocational school. Remember that? You know, we had to bus down to the other part of the school.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody had brought chickens to school that day, and it started a fight. And there were people outside fighting, getting on the vocational school bus, and there were chickens running around everywhere.
They brought chickens to school.
Brought chickens to school several times.
Were they fighting over the chickens?
That would be a great plot twist if they really were fighting over the chickens. I think it was just a coincidence that two people started fighting and someone had brought chickens that day.
Chickens, you know, chicken fights were big back home. That's a whole other conversation in itself, which I'm not going to. I miss the world where there was just, you know, I don't want to say.
It was the world of secrecy.
It was the world of secrecy.
Growing up in the mountains, it was nothing but secrets.
Absolutely. But, Amber, I do miss simple times. You know, the vaccine, people are still going on about that. They're still encouraging everyone to get the vaccine. I miss a time, Amber, I miss a time in the world where I miss the world that we used to live in. I wish that we could go back to a world where America obsessed over collecting things like Beanie Babies instead of vaccinations or the COVID-19 virus. The things that we obsess about now are totally more heavy than what we used to obsess about. And it's just, I miss those times when America was obsessed about collecting Beanie Babies. You remember that?
I do. I was one of those people.
It was a simpler time. When you look back on it, yes, it's crazy to think that people actually used to collect Beanie Babies, but the fact that we're obsessed over a vaccination now is just, it's night and day. It's night and day. But I bring up Beanie Babies because it was the latest episode on that new show, Dark Side of the 90s, which is an excellent show. One of my favorite shows. But it talked about Beanie Babies, and it talked about how the world used to be obsessed with them. Amber, did you ever collect Beanie Babies?
Absolutely, 100% I did.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. What were some of your favorite Beanie Babies that you had?
Some of my favorite, I had a lot of the original. I think it was either 7 or 9 Beanie Babies. I had some of the original. I had giraffes. I had the penguin. I had the crab. I had the little bear. I had my Princess Diana, which was definitely one of my favorites. I had an American flag. I still actually have a few at the house that I pulled out.
A lot of people,
just to show you.
A lot of people have Beanie Babies. Some have tubs full of Beanie Babies. Those little plastic tubs.
Yep.
What's the tarp? What do they call them? Not tubs.
Heavy duty Tupperware things.
Tupperwares, yes, those things. But Beanie Babies was created by this man named H. Ty Warner, and he created the Beanie Babies in 1993. But by the late 90s, they were collectibles, and to most collectors, they were just a fun hobby until many of them started to grow in value. The toys themselves may have been innocent, but it was the culture surrounding collecting Beanie Babies that made them so dark. So you might be wondering, how was Beanie Babies an episode of the Dark Side of the 90s? What was so dark about Beanie Babies? It really wasn't the Beanie Babies itself that were so dark. It was the controversy that surrounded the Beanie Babies, how people acted to get a hold of these Beanie Babies.
Fascination.
Well, at one point in the 90s, when they were creating these Beanie Babies, the sticker price for a Beanie Baby was $5. That's what you could buy a Beanie Baby for. Well, people would collect those, and what Ty Warner did, the guy who created these, is he would create the Beanie Babies and then he would retire the Beanie Baby.
Yep.
And he would say, once the Beanie Baby is retired, it's never coming back. Well, it got to a point to where somehow it got around that Beanie Babies were going to be worth money one day.
I know.
I don't know how that rumor got started and how that even became a fad, but people started collecting Beanie Babies thinking that they were going to be worth a lot of money because they were going to be so scarce. Because they were already hard to get a hold of because they would intentionally not make a lot.
Well, and they were only released in more metropolitan areas, at your smaller stores. They weren't like mainstream just yet when they originally first came out. So to get your hands on one anyways was a woo.
Yes. So it brought out the absolute worst in people. Okay. There was this self-published author. Okay. And this self-published author sold more than 3 million copies of a book that touted 10-year predictions for their values. The magazine, it was called Mary Beth's Beanie World, and she was a self-described soccer mom, and she reached 1 million copies in paid monthly circulations for her magazine.
What?
In it, a full-page, full-color ad for smart heart tag protectors led this with this headline: "How do you protect an investment that increases by 84,000%? The answer was to buy a hard shell locket into which encases the heart-shaped paper tags." So do you remember the little heart-shaped paper tags on Beanie Babies?
Let me tell you, did you collect Beanie Babies at all?
No.
Okay, so if anything were to ever happen to that little heart that was on your Beanie Baby,
It wasn't no count.
No, you might as well just burn it, toss it,
So
throw it away.
that was another way for Ty to make money. They would place caps, plastic caps over the tags.
Well, so the tags were already kind of flimsy to begin with, and they were held on with one of those, something that you'd see like on like a shirt or something holding your tag on. So it was already flimsy, and a lot of the times you'd get them, they already be half ripped. So yes, I bought into buying the hard shells that went on my little hearts.
So at a Christmas party, Ty Warner, the owner of the Beanie Babies company, gave every employee a bonus in the year of 1999. He would match their yearly salary and give them a special edition Beanie Baby bear. So if you made $40,000 a year, you got a $40,000 bonus. If you made $100,000 a year, you got a $100,000 bonus. He matched your salary. That's how much money the company was making. He did that for every employee.
Wow.
Every employee. And he gave every employee their own Beanie Baby bear. It was a special edition Beanie Baby bear. It was called the number 1 bear. And the inside of the hang tag explained that only 253 of the bears had been produced. It also listed the company's achievements for the year. More than $3 billion in retail sales, number 1 in the gift category, number 1 in collectibles, and number 1 in cash register area sales.
Wow.
Beanie Baby was the hottest toy coming and going. Then McDonald's started getting in on the fun. Remember when McDonald's used to put little tiny Beanie Babies in Happy Meals?
That gave me life.
Well,
then.
that again brought out the worst in people. People started attacking parents holding Happy Meals. They would rip Happy Meals from children's fingertips.
They put a limit on the amount of Happy Meals each car could order per child.
5.
Yes, it was 5.
5 was the limit. It was a 5 limit order per car.
Yes.
For a Happy Meal, because people would go and buy the Happy Meal and throw out the food even just to get the Beanie Baby toy.
Exactly.
So some of the most popular bears and what they were going for at the height of all of this. Princess Diana Bear at one point in time went for $500,000.
Are you serious?
Lefty the donkey and Righty the elephant went for $50,000. Brownie the bear $20,000. Valentino the bear $19,000. Claude the crab $10,000. Hollow the bear $7,500. And Seaweed the Beanie Baby $7,000. And keep in mind, they all started out costing only $5. Retail price, they were $5. But because everybody said that they were going to raise in value, that's how much at one point in time people were selling these for.
You know how much money I would have based on that list?
How much?
A lot.
A lot, yes.
A lot.
But you got to think, when are you going to get to that point to where you are going to sell off your Beanie Babies? You can't keep it forever. It's not going to make you no money.
Well, but I mean, I think some people anticipated that they would eventually.
So, just like with almost anything, there was a decline. Only after a few years of the Beanie Baby hype, and after making Ty the creator, a multi-billionaire, the Beanie Babies became virtually worthless, worth nothing. And what happened was the owner of Beanie Babies, Ty, he sent out an email and said, at the end of 1999, I will retire all Beanie Babies. I will produce no more Beanie Babies. So everybody started to freak out. And actually, it helped sales for a while. But then what he did was he decided to start over in the year 2000, close out the old Beanie Baby line, open up a new one, and call it, and he debuted a new Beanie Baby, and it was called The Beginning. And it flopped. Everybody was done by that point, because everybody knew that the Beanie Babies that they invested in were worthless. I mean, people were dipping into their 401ks, people were selling cars, people were dipping into their children's college fund to buy Beanie Babies in hopes that they would be worth thousands of dollars one day.
I think my favorite meme from the internet always talks about a couple that was going through a divorce, and you can just see them in a courtroom and they're separating out their Beanie Baby collection. And I just could not imagine if me and Wiley both got into collecting Beanie Babies and we had to fight over them. I don't know how you'd fight over Beanie Babies.
I seen that. That was in like it was in a 90s post, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, you lived in the 90s if you did this. But yeah, there was a couple divorcing in this picture, in this photograph Amber's talking about, and the man and wife is fighting over who gets what Beanie Baby.
Yeah. Well, you mean, so I'm going to take his crab.
And you can have the octopus, and I'll get the dolphin.
I'll take that giraffe.
But it made me start thinking about all of the collectible fads that are pretty much worth next to nothing now.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's exactly what it is. It's a fad, and fads go away. But, well, let me ask, Amber, did you ever collect anything?
So I did collect the Beanie Babies. I was pretty big into the Beanie Babies and Dr. Seuss books. I actually had all of those at one point in time. And that's really it for me. But now I'm going to throw my husband under the bus. He used to collect magic cards.
Okay, well, that is hilarious because I have a list here of some of the most popular fads that are worth next to nothing now, and magic cards is on that list.
Oh my gosh, can I debunk you right fast? Though?
Sure.
In 2018, my husband decided, I'm so sorry, baby, he decided he was no longer going to keep his magic card collection because he was done. He was too old for it, taking up room.
Yes.
And we actually sold some of his cards to make a profit, and we made a pretty nice profit.
Really?
We did.
So somebody out there was willing to pay money for that.
You got to think, though, he had such a pristine collection. Some of the cards were
Right.
very nicely taken care of. They
Right.
were limited edition, so
Right.
yeah.
Right. Well, a lot of people have collections, and some of you listening, you still may have your collection at home, and you never know. You can take your shot, take a stab in the dark. It might be worth something. But here are some fads of collections throughout the years. Of course, I mentioned magic cards. Remember magic cards? There was the troll dolls.
Oh, jeez.
The troll dolls
Yeah.
with the long hair. Sometimes you could squeeze the troll doll and the tongue would stick out. I remember my sister had one of those. My sister collected troll dolls when we were younger.
They scared me.
There were Pez dispensers was a big fad that people used to collect.
Okay, now, I think I tried to get into that and couldn't.
Cabbage Patch Kids.
Yes.
Everybody back in the 70s and the 80s, even 90s,
Even early 90s.
wanted a Cabbage Patch Kids doll because it was cool because you got to adopt it. It would come with a birth certificate.
Well, you had to send it back in. I used to always fill mine out, send them in.
Right. Well, there was sports cards like baseball cards, basketball cards. There was Pokemon trading cards. You remember how big Pokemon got?
Yes.
I mean, just like Star Wars. Anything Star Wars, Pokemon, all those collector items. They say they're worth to nothing now, but you can always take your stab in the dark. I mean, heck, Wiley did it, and look, he got...
Yeah,
Do you want to share what he made off of his magic cards?
Absolutely not. Just know that it would be enough to pique anyone's interest.
Really?
But, with that being said, you got to make sure you take care of this stuff. I think about the kids when we were growing up. I did have Beanie Babies, and I had friends that also had Beanie Babies, and they'd be playing with them outside in the dirt. They'd let Bubby and Cece chew all over the tag on them. If you're gonna collect them, make sure you're taking care of them.
Exactly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. We got lots more off the cuff coming at you live after these words. Stick with us.
We are Radio Lex, the voice of the community. WLXU 93.9 LP-FM, Lexington, Kentucky.
Is your employment being threatened by discrimination? The Lexington Human Rights Commission is here to help. We investigate discrimination claims.
She knows you're on
and
there.
there is no fee for our services.
Want to call her out?
If you have a discrimination complaint, you can file it online at lexhumanrights.org or call us at 252-4931.
Hey Lexington, if you're at least 16, you can get the COVID-19 vaccine.
I did it for my neighbor.
I did it for my family.
I did it for Sundays.
I know. We got 30 more minutes. That's...
I did it for race days.
I did it for my students.
I did it to see my friends.
I did it for my team.
Let's do this. Learn more at lexingtonky.gov/vaccines.
That was how much.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm begging.
Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. Amber is also in studio with me. nobody enjoys going to the doctor. Nobody enjoys that because it's a scary place. You're talking about your health. Now, imagine going in for surgery. That would intensify your nerves of going to the doctor. Going to a checkup is one thing, but going in for surgery, that's another. Amber, have you ever had surgery before?
I have.
Have you ever...
You is the better question.
I have.
Okay.
Have you ever been put to sleep? I'm sure, well, there's some surgeries where you don't have to be put to sleep, but have you ever been put to sleep?
I get put to sleep to get my teeth worked on.
Okay.
Come on.
Well, when you get put to sleep and you go into the doctor and you go in for surgery, you just assume that the doctor knows what he's doing.
The doctor knows best.
Right. And you just assume that when you wake up from surgery that everything will be okay.
You're going to be fixed.
That's what you assume. Unless you've had Christopher Daniel Duntsch as your doctor. Because Dr. Duntsch, better known as Dr. Death, was an American neurosurgeon who has been nicknamed Dr. Death due to his gross malpractice resulting in the maiming of several patients, infecting their spines and killing 2 of them while working at hospitals in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So this guy named Christopher Duntsch, he is being profiled right now on the Peacock Network. There's this new miniseries called Dr. Death. And Amber, you've watched it. I've watched it. I can't rave enough of how great it is. But I will say that it is the scariest television show that I've ever watched. It shook me to the core. And people may ask, why? Why did that scare you so bad? It's because this is a true story. Mm-hmm. This could really happen. Mm-hmm. That doctor was a psychopath. That doctor was a psychopath, and he was going in and he was hurting his patients over and over and over again, and hospitals was letting it happen. It says here that Dr. Duntsch was accused of injuring 33 out of 38 patients in less than 2 years before his license was revoked by the Texas Medical Board. In 2017, he was convicted of maiming one of his patients and sentenced to life imprisonment. So, what's sad about it, well, what's good about it is eventually he got convicted of all of this and he got sent to prison. But he only got convicted on hurting one patient. Mm-hmm. For some reason, they were saying they let him go, they let him walk free from the other patients.
I don't think it was they let him walk free, is they did not have the time to prove that he had been gross negligence. Right. They just couldn't prove it. They could prove what they went after him for.
Right, which was injuring someone,
elder abuse.
An elder abuse.
Elder abuse.
And they really stuck it to him. They gave him life in prison for him. So, on paper, he was very qualified. In 2010, he completed the MD, PhD in neurosurgery residency programs at the University of Tennessee Health Science Center, and then completed a spine fellowship program there as well. Dr. Duntsch completed his residency having participated in fewer than 100 surgeries. Typically, neurosurgery residents participate in over 1,000 surgeries during residence. Dr. Duntsch only did 100 surgeries. He was suspected of being under the influence of cocaine while operating during his 4th year of residency, upon which he was sent to an impaired physician's program before being allowed to return to his residency program. Several of his friends recalled him going to work after a night of doing drugs, with one of them saying he would never allow Dr. Duntsch to operate on him. His name appeared on several papers and patents, and he took part in a number of biotech startups. And upon applying for work, he looked extremely qualified on paper. He had spent a total of 15 years in training, medical school, residency, fellowship, and his curriculum vitae was 12 single-spaced pages. He claimed to have graduated magna cum laude from St. Jude's Children's Hospital with a doctorate in microbiology, but found out that that was a lie because the program that he said that he had, the hospital didn't offer that.
Exist.
So he ended up joining the Baylor Medical Center as a neurosurgeon, making $600,000 per year plus bonuses. And when in just 2 years he did all of his damage. In just 2 years he went to work with that scalpel, and he absolutely destroyed some of these patients' lives. Now, I've got a list here of some of his patients, and I'm going to tell you what he did to some of his patients, okay?
Oh, my goodness.
Now, if you watch Dr. Death on the Peacock Network, you will see that all of these stories are covered, and all of these patients are covered.
And they do really actually cover quite a bit of them.
Yes, quite a bit. So the first person I'll talk about is, well, let's talk about his best friend, Jerry Summers. Jerry Summers had not only been his patient, but he was also his very best friend, even moving to Dallas from Tennessee to help Dr. Duntsch set up his new practice. And Summers, being who I'm talking about, he asked Dr. Duntsch to perform a surgery on him to help his chronic neck pain. Well, after the surgery was over, Chris woke up and couldn't move anything from the neck down. So doctors who reviewed the case would later determine that during surgery, Dr. Duntsch had damaged the vertebrae artery, which caused it to bleed significantly. He tried to stop the bleeding. He packed the space with so much gel foam that it constricted Jerry Summers' spine and removed so much of his bone that Summers' head was no longer secure on his body.
Wow.
He removed so much bone from his best friend's neck, his head wasn't even attached to his body anymore. Okay? Summers says he woke up and he felt like that his body was laying under a pile of bricks. Could you imagine that?
No.
And he said the only thing he could use was his voice, and he started screaming out for his friend Chris, and Chris was nowhere to be found, and it took hours for Chris to even come check on him. And after the surgery, Chris has never apologized and told him he was sorry.
Never.
How sad is that? Here's another one, Barry Morgolf. In January of 2012, Barry went to Dr. Duntsch for a spinal fusion, a procedure that joined two vertebrae together using a metal plate after getting a referral from the pain clinic. Let's see, he recalls that Dr. Duntsch always was looking at him and saying, I can fix you, I can fix you. That was his magic word. And Dr. Randall Kirby, another surgeon, was in the room with Dr. Duntsch, and he testifies that his performance was pathetic. He was functioning at a first or second year neurosurgeon resident level that had no apparent insight into how bad his technique was. So when the man woke up from surgery, he said he felt like he had been hit from a truck, and now he has a permanent limp, and he says pain rules his life. He says he's tasted the 9mm gun before, because he almost took his life, but he held on because of his wife and kids, but he says he still lives in constant, agonizing pain. So many people affected by this doctor. Here's another one. Her name is Floella Brown. And she was 64 years old. She was a banker about to retire, and she was hoping to ease her worsening back pain. And the cervical fusion initially seemed to be going well, but operating room nurse Kyle Kinsinger said Dr. Duntsch soon began complaining that there was too much bleeding. In the recovering room, Brown said she felt okay and had visits from her husband Joe and son, but she said by 5 a.m. the next morning she was convulsing and lost complete consciousness. It said that Dr. Duntsch couldn't be reached for hours, and he returned to the hospital late looking disheveled and had on scrubs that were 3 days old, and they could tell because there was a large distinct hole in the butt cheek of his scrubs. So that same hole was in the same place for 3 days in a row on his scrubs.
So nasty.
That's so nasty, because when you go into a scrub room, you're supposed to have fresh new clothes on.
Sterile.
You're supposed to scrub everything.
It's supposed to be a sterile environment.
He had on clothes for 3 days, drinking, doing drugs in them, doing other surgeries in them.
Going to strip clubs in them.
Going to strip clubs in them.
That's nasty.
Yes.
And definitely a great show to check out. I don't want to give anything away, but I think the last episode of the series kind of told it all. And I think if you watch his face and the lack thereof, compassion, empathy, sympathy for anybody that he encountered is I think, you talked about it being scary. I think that's the scariest thing, to know that he had no sympathy, no empathy, and just no regard whatsoever, even for his best friend.
But it just makes you wonder, did he do this on purpose, or did he do this out of incompetence? Did Christopher Duntsch not know what he was doing because of the lack of training he had, or was he deliberately going in there and hurting these patients because he got a rise out of that?
He cannot sit there and say that he was not trained properly. You can't say that. And if that sincerely is the case, I mean, it really does call in, which is probably a reason why it hasn't been explored, that entire program at UT, that's going to call in how many other people got to, skate right on through their residencies. And
you got to think, I mean, these are actually people working on you in surgery. These are human beings. They put on their pants like you do.
They go to the bathroom.
They go to the bathroom. They do number 1 and number 2. They do everything. They do everything that you do. Amber, you've known your fair share of doctors.
I have.
And that's unfortunately because that's all your mom will date. Because
it's
all she'll marry is a doctor. But because of that, you have gotten to know doctors on a personal level.
Yes.
And you've lived with surgeons. So could you? I mean, so let's think about the many men that your mother has dated.
Let's pick one.
Let's pick a surgeon.
Yeah.
What did they used to eat before surgery?
So probably, the best one is going to be, one of my stepfathers was an orthopedic surgeon.
Okay.
A great orthopedic surgeon.
Yeah.
He was very meticulous in everything he did. The cleanliness that come from this man, oh my goodness. It was just absolutely insane. Lots of fish, exotic fish would be eaten some nights.
Brain food.
Brain food, yes, absolutely.
He would eat brain food. He'd get a good night's sleep because he took his work serious.
Very serious.
Dr. Duntsch was doing cocaine before surgeries.
Coke off of what's that place out there on Richmond Road, Spearmint Rhino? I just imagine that's where he would have been.
There is a lot of good surgeons out there.
Yes.
But you really have to put your faith in these people when they are doing surgery on you, because they are human beings, and I think it's always good to have somebody work on you that has no idea anything about you, because you don't want to have anybody working on you that has any judgment towards you.
No.
And I don't know. It's just scary to think about how much power somebody has over your body when they're standing over it open.
Yeah.
And everybody's just assuming that they know what they're doing.
Well, I think the last thing that got me about that was how did he get by with making that commercial that he made? Didn't he make an infomercial talking about he was the best doctor in Dallas?
He did.
I mean, can you really I know that you and I have proclaimed a few times that we're this and this, of a particular subject, but can you really do that and make commercials about it? I mean, I'm being serious.
It went on for so long. On a surface level, if you're just doing a basic Google search of doctors and you looked up Dr. Christopher Duntsch, he looked like a competent surgeon.
Yes.
He looked qualified. He had rave reviews of people who talked great about him, but you have to do a little bit more digging.
Well, people thought he was qualified, honest, and dependable, and it come to find out he was none of those things.
And he certainly was not. Dr. Death, it is streaming on Peacock. I recommend everyone checking that out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got one more segment to go. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Fayette Alliance is celebrating 15 years of smart growth in Lexington, Fayette County. Smart and equitable growth impacts us all.
We haven't taken Song of the Week.
It houses our neighbors close to where we work and play, improves transportation options, and focuses investment in existing neighborhoods. Smart growth also preserves our farmland, which provides 1 in 12 jobs and shapes our cultural identity. The balance between growth and farmland is the foundation of Lexington's success. Fayette Alliance is proud to continue the challenging and necessary work to keep Lexington growing smart. To learn more, you can visit FayetteAlliance.com.
Hey Lexington, if you're at least 16, you can get the COVID-19 vaccine.
I did it for my neighbor.
I did it for my family.
I did it for Sundays. I did it for Saturdays.
I did it for race days.
I did it for my students.
I did it to see my friends.
I did it for my team.
Let's do this. Learn more at lexingtonky.gov/vaccines.
Radio Lex has the support of tailor-made decorative concrete and epoxy. TailorMadeDCE.com.
These things never work. Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. Amber is also in studio with me. Amber, the 2020 Olympics is officially over, and the United States takes home the victory. You know, they were in second place last time we talked about them, but they are now the number one team to come out of the Olympics. They had 39 total gold medals, 41 silver medals, 33 bronze, and 113 total. China came in second with 38 gold, 32 silver, 18 bronze, 88 total. And Japan came in third, 27 gold, 14 silver, 17 bronze, and 58 total. Congratulations to the United States of America. Proud to be an American.
And I think we actually had quite a few people from the great state of Kentucky right here in little old Lexington that brought home some gold for us.
There was a lot of students, former students from the University of Kentucky that participated in the Olympics.
Yes. I think archery was one of them, maybe.
That is,
or fencing. Maybe it was fencing. Now look at me. I was going to try to be hometown proud, and I can't even remember what they won.
I think that's pretty cool. The Olympics, we ended up winning basketball. We always win basketball. We are the basketball country, or we should be. And we did it without great players. You know, LeBron James wasn't there. And some people consider him the greatest. I don't. But some people consider him the greatest. Steph Curry wasn't there. James Harden wasn't there. Chris Paul. They all decided to rest and recover, is what they said. They just wanted to rest and take it easy. You know, LeBron, I guess he decided that he didn't want to do another Olympics because he's been there, done that. But it just goes to show that Michael Jordan's still the greatest of all time. I'm rewatching The Last Dance, by the way. All 10 episodes. It's been my summer rewatch. And I've discovered a couple things, Amber. Mm-hmm. Number one, Michael Jordan and I are a lot alike.
Okay. I'm very curious about this.
Yes, Michael Jordan and I are a lot alike. We both love basketball.
Okay.
We both are very dedicated to our craft.
Okay.
And we both just are confident in our own skills and talents.
Okay.
So, you know, Jordan, what I love about Jordan is he never proclaimed to be the greatest, even though he is. He said his talent will speak for itself.
As it did.
That's why I will never, ever say I'm the greatest at anything, because if you are the greatest, your talent should speak for itself.
Exactly.
And LeBron always has to go on television, on the radio, and say, I'm the greatest. You have to say that. Don't say that.
Who are you trying to convince, me or you?
Right. Your talent should speak for itself, and I'm sorry. All day, every day, if you're going to put Jordan up against LeBron, I'll take Jordan.
No, I don't really think there's a comparison there. Sincerely, I'm not even a huge basketball fan. I just don't think there is a comparison.
I don't consider LeBron in the top 3 greatest of all time. It's Michael Jordan, it's Kobe Bryant, it's Magic Johnson, and I would say LeBron might be 4. He's definitely not 1.
No.
Stop.
Well, and it's just more about than just, their actual talent out on the floor, which we know Michael Jordan was the best. I think, he had a good character all around, he really wasn't involved. You've talked about this before. Actually, you schooled me on this. He wasn't really involved in scandals, kind of kept to himself, did his thing.
Did his thing. He certainly was, but the dream team was what everybody remembers in the Olympics. That was the famous 1992 United States Olympic team. It was the first time that America got to put NBA players to represent them at the Olympics.
That's cool.
And they went to, I believe it was in Barcelona, and they ended up defeating Croatia, and they dominated because it was a dream team. You had players like Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, and now I'm having a name blank of everybody who was on the dream team. Everybody that was on the dream team, I'm having a name blank of who was on there. Scottie Pippen, so many, and many more. But Chuck Daly was the head coach, and he coached the Pistons. Mike Krzyzewski was the assistant coach, and Christian Laettner was on the dream team too.
How did you say that man's last name with such ease?
Laettner?
No.
What?
Mike
Krzyzewski?
Yeah, how'd you say that with such ease?
I've been saying it a while. A lot of people say Coach K, but he represented the college crew.
Yeah,
he did. He was known as the greatest college athlete at that point in time. But imagine getting to play with people like the likes of Jordan and Magic Johnson.
Shoo.
But yeah, congratulations to the 2020 United States Championship team. We have another title. But Amber, believe it or not, that about wraps up another edition of Off the Cuff. We did not even get to take a Song of the Week break. How long has it been since that's happened?
Well, time flies when you're talking about Beanie Babies.
Maybe we spent a little bit too much time talking about Beanie Babies. But ladies and gentlemen, that about wraps it up for this week's edition of Off the Cuff. You can follow Amber, the co-host, on social media at Ambu447. You can follow me, the host, on social media at the Adam Banks. You can follow Off the Cuff on social media at Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. You can listen to all of our previous episodes by subscribing to us on iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Amber Turner. I'm Adam Banks. We will see you next Thursday from 4 to 5. We'll catch you down the road. I know, no song of the week. Sorry. Next week we'll do it.